"Sir, you're under arrest for trespassing on your own property." I'm not kidding. That's almost what the cop said before I waved my deed in his face. And the reason for all that? One woman, Brenda Carmichael, who'd been making life hell for everyone around Lake Serenity, calling the police on folks for existing, threatening lawsuits, bribing county officials, you name it. Here's the real punchline. She had no clue that the guy she was trying to run off, actually owned the $800,000 mansion she was renting. Yeah, let that sink in. Picture this. Dawn's just breaking over the lake. Everything smells like pine needles and old cedar, and suddenly there's blue and red lights flashing against my granddad's cabin. Gravel crunches, 2 squad cars pull up, and Brenda herself is on the deck of her mansion, bright pink bathrobe, finger pointed like I'm even a bomber. All because I was out fishing on my own dock. So let me just ask, what would you do if someone tried to get you arrested for fishing in your backyard? Seriously, drop your story in the comments. I know I'm not the only one with a nightmare HOA neighbor out there. Anyway, my name's Marcus, and 3 years back I thought I'd hit the jackpot. 20 years in military logistics, a divorce nastier than week-old roadkill, and suddenly I inherited my granddad's cabin. Minnesota, tiny town, population 3,200 if you count the squirrels, where the wildest drama used to be Mrs. Henderson's cat stealing fish. The cabin's nothing fancy. A 1960s A-frame on 2 acres of pure heaven. Mornings full of loon calls and water, so still it makes you forget every diesel-choked Army sunrise. The place smelled like my entire childhood. Old cedar, lake water, pine needles, and for 2 years, it was honestly paradise. Then Hurricane Brenda arrived. Bought the lake's biggest McMansion. Looked like someone airlifted a Dallas suburb to the woods, and made it her mission to clean up Lake Serenity. First week, she's cruising around in blinding white capris, cardigan bright enough to signal the space station, introducing herself from a pontoon boat. Always smiling like she's selling timeshares, but her eyes, cold as January ice. The morning it all changed, I'm drinking coffee on the dock when her boat cuts across the water like a chainsaw. "Yoo-hoo, neighbor," she yells, all false cheer. She pulls up, hands me a manila folder with the drama of a game show host, and tells me my place doesn't meet updated aesthetic standards. I nearly choked on my coffee. "What HOA?" I ask. Her smile twitches. "The one protecting our property values from declining influences, like your fishing gear. Lady, this property's been in my family since before she was born, and there's no HOA anywhere on my deed." That's when her mask slips, and she drops her voice to about 20 degrees below zero. "We'll see about that, won't we, soldier boy?" And off she roars, perfume and exhaust swirling behind her. That's when it hit me. This wasn't a neighborly spat, it was war, and Brenda just drafted me without warning. 3 days later, there's a violation notice taped to my door, full of fake legalese and a threat to fine me $500 for dock aesthetic violations. To most folks, it would look terrifying, official letterhead, case numbers, all that. But my granddad raised no fool. Time for reconnaissance. Down to the courthouse, where the basement smells like old leather and failed dreams. I befriend Dolores, a clerk who's seen more HOA bullies than the local judge. She slides my file over. "Brenda's been in here 6 times this month asking about enforcement. She doesn't know her ass from her elbow. Turns out my deed is crystal clear. No covenants, no restrictions, and Brenda's so-called HOA? Barely legal. Incorporated with just 12 out of 47 property owners. She had as much power over my land as a soggy birthday candle. But here's where my Army training pays off. While Brenda's waving paperwork in everyone's face, she's quietly buying up lakefronts under Carmichael Holdings LLC and running a shady Airbnb empire out of cabins meant for families. The woman telling me about community standards is the one actually destroying them. So, I throw a question on Facebook. Anybody else getting violation notices from the so-called HOA? And my inbox blows up. 8 neighbors message me, all with their own Brenda horror stories. There's Janet, retired librarian with a binder thicker than the Bible, Tom from the marina with proof of bounced checks, and Florence, 90 years old and sharp as a tack, who spotted late-night parties at Brenda's family rentals. I start a private group chat, Lake Serenity Truth Squad. If you're going to fight crazy, you might as well have a team. That evening, Brenda calls me, voice as sweet and poisonous as antifreeze. Marcus, honey, saw your Facebook post. Don't make this difficult. I play dumb. She goes full villain. I have connections. I will report you for harassment and cyberbullying. Click. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on my dock, watching the sunset, and thinking she's picked the wrong person to try and intimidate. We veterans don't back down. We adapt, we improvise, and we plan. The next morning, Tom from Code Enforcement rolls up, clearly wishing he was anywhere but in the middle of this drama. Marcus, sorry, got a complaint about your dock and an abandoned vehicle. We have coffee, walk the dock. He checks, shrugs. This is the 23rd complaint I've gotten from Brenda in 6 months. She even tried to bribe me last time. Apparently, she thinks a $100 bill makes up for wasting everyone's time. True Squad decides to show up at Brenda's emergency HOA meeting, which is just 6 of her rental managers and a PowerPoint presentation titled Protecting Our Community Investment. Janet takes notes like she's at the Nuremberg trials, and in the bathroom, overhears Brenda on the phone. Payments are coming, but these people are stubborn. I've got new strategies, legal pressure, code enforcement, whatever it takes. Lightbulb moment. Brenda isn't protecting property values. She's desperate, trying to save her own operation by bullying anyone who gets in her way. A little more digging, and I discover her lawyer specializes in foreclosure defense. Never a good sign for an HOA president. So I do what any good soldier does. File my own complaint for harassment and misuse of county resources, then tip off the actual owner of Brenda's mansion. Spoiler, it's me. Northwood's property management, who handle the rental, are very interested to hear about Brenda's creative lease interpretation. That night, Deputy Rodriguez from the sheriff's office pulls me aside. We're watching. Nothing criminal, yet, but she's walking a thin line. And that's when I realize Brenda's biggest mistake wasn't messing with me. It was making everyone mad at once, and now the Lakes united like never before. The next week, the police show up again, blue lights flashing at dawn. 2 officers, one young and eager, the other a grizzled vet, ask if I've been trespassing and threatening Brenda. I offer coffee and paperwork. Sergeant Peterson, the old-timer, takes a look at my mountain of documentation, security footage, deed, timeline of harassment, even Tom's signed statement about bribery. He watches video of me helping Florence load her fishing gear while Brenda lurks behind her blinds. The trespass was on a public road. Peterson shakes his head. Either you're the politest terrorist in history or someone's yanking our chain. While they're still there, my PI calls with a twist worthy of a soap opera. Brenda owes $47,000 in unpaid HOA fees from her last neighborhood, got sued, lost, and owes money to just about everyone who's ever met her. Oh, and her rental business? Totally illegal. No permits, zoning violations, the works. That afternoon, Peterson suggests I consider pressing charges for false police reports. As the police leave, tires crunching like applause, Brenda's shadow disappears from her window. But the story's not over. My lawyer, Arthur Peton, calls me in for a talk. He's been reviewing my grandfather's estate. Turns out I don't just own the cabin. I control the trust that owns 4 properties, including Brenda's mansion. That's right. The woman trying to drive me out has been paying me rent. And she's 2 months behind. Arthur lays it out. I can evict her tomorrow for 14 lease violations, but he advises diplomacy first. Offer mediation, document everything, then if she refuses, proceed with eviction. So we start building the case. Janet's binder becomes Exhibit A. Tom the Marina guy keeps receipts. The whole squad gathers evidence. Rodriguez stresses, courts want to see you try to solve things reasonably. I install extra security cameras because now I'm documenting a criminal enterprise. Brenda gets wind of all this, escalates, and sends her handyman to sabotage my boat, caught on camera, muttering about crazy lady jobs. $2,800 in damages. Now it's felony territory. I file another police report, the pressure mounts, and Brenda starts publicly melting down. She's banned from the marina after screaming at a teenager, accused the grocery cashier of systematic harassment of professional women. And everywhere she goes, folks start pulling out their phones. Janet digs up her history. Every address, same playbook, bully, escalate, then get evicted. Finally, Brenda goes for broke, literally. She tries to bribe the county commissioner, zoning inspector, even a sheriff's deputy, all caught on tape or documented in reports. That turns our little feud into a felony investigation. When the news hits, Brenda has her meltdown in front of 24 witnesses, accusing me of stalking and conspiracy. Florence, the lake's unofficial matriarch, sets the record straight. Honey, he's done nothing but fish and mind his business. You're the problem. The crowd erupts. At the next town council meeting, I drop the bomb, projector screen, receipts, camera footage, and finally, Brenda, I'm her landlord. You have 30 days to vacate for repeated violations. The place goes wild. Standing ovation, people wiping away tears, Florence leading the applause like a maestro. Brenda storms out, shrieking about conspiracy and legal discrimination. Her lawyer physically restrains her from going after the podium. The local TV crew interviews me. My advice to folks dealing with HOA bullies? Document everything, know your rights, and don't let intimidation win. The next day, headlines read, Lake Dispute Exposes Bribery Scheme. Brenda packs up and vanishes in under 2 weeks, leaves behind property damage and a U-Haul headed for Florida. Justice gets served. She takes a plea for probation and community service, and I accidentally become the lake's de facto leader. We start a scholarship fund for kids who help the community, organize fish fries, turn the True Squad into a real neighborhood watch, protecting folks, not policing bird feeders. Janet and I start dating. Turns out, nothing bonds people like taking down a tyrant together. Life blooms again around Lake Serenity, neighbors closer than ever. If there's anything I've learned, it's this. Always check your deed, document everything, and don't let bullies steal your peace. And if you survive your own HOA horror story, tell us below. What's justice mean to you? What would you have done different? Like, comment, subscribe. Let's make sure no one fights these battles alone.